ours only as long as we're living here. And it don't belong to us as much as it belongs to the forthcoming generations that are not born. The children that's not going to be born, that will one day be born, to the people, it belongs to them forevermore. And that is the term of our people, sacredness, why they say this land here is not for sale. This land here is not going to be given a deed, no place, because only the Great Spirit is the one who can do that, not me and no other person in this world. And so today, I look at this. Now, when the migration started to come, we knew, our old people knew, I heard some of these old men say that we knew that the white brother was going to come here to North and South America. We know that. There was going to be two sets of white brothers, two of them. One old grandfather, he said this, and he's even got a drawing. He says, when the white brother comes here, there will be two. If one brother comes, he's going to be a true brother, true white brother. And there's another one, it's not going to be true. If this one comes, don't you listen to him. And don't you follow him. Don't you accept him. Don't you take anything from him. If you do, then your people and your small ones will cry and they will suffer much pain. And I'm going to tell you what that means right at this time. When he said, how will you identify the brothers when they get ready to come? One, he's going to bring the sacred circle of the universe. The other, the one you're not supposed to listen to, he will wear symbols on his body, or he will wear symbols on his clothing, or whatever he wears on his body. And this symbol, I'm going to show you what it is. And our Indian people, we're not supposed to listen to them or accept their ways. And this is the sign. My people was given that sign to look for that. If the white brother come here bearing that on his body, don't follow him, because he will destroy the earth. From the 4 arrows that was on the first origination of this earth, it's not the same. Here, the road of the white brother that is not true, it ends here. If you go this way to the east, it comes to an end to the east. If you go to south, it ends to the south. If you go to west, it ends to the west. That is the way it's going to happen if you listen. The sacred symbol that was put on the sacred hieroglyphics of the Indian and all original people, whether it's traditional white people, traditional black people, traditional Chinese people, they all got the same sacred symbol. And I'm going to show you what this sacred symbol is. In your studies, since you've been studying this course, you probably have come to this, but you never have had the meaning really of it. And the sacred symbol is this. I'm going to show you. Sacred original symbol of all the race. You know why? Here's what the old people said. Everlasting life it will be. You follow the road of the universe, of the Great Spirit, of any race. You keep going, and you never come to end. It says everlasting life. Harmony with all your uncles and relatives, rivers and streams. Grandfather wind, brother sun. Harmony with your relatives, because life is a big family. The universe is a family. If you follow that sacred instruction, life will be everlasting, the old people said. Now that does not mean that I'm going to live to be 2 billion years old. That's not what it means. It means that I have 2 children now, another one on the way, maybe in a couple of weeks. When I pass and go back to this Mother Earth, I will not die, because my blood and my flesh will live on through my kids. And after they are gone, their kids, that will be my grandchildren. I will still walk this earth. Those are the words of the old people. Life will be everlasting. That's what it means. Doesn't mean look for fountain of youth starting right now. You see. So that's how it goes that way. Now, I do not want you to be offended. What I'm talking about, this here might offend somebody. So far what I said, I don't want to make no trouble. I didn't come for trouble. But I want to make a clarification at this point. Do not mix this symbol with the man they call Jesus Christ. Don't mix it with him. Because Jesus Christ didn't invent this. And Jesus Christ didn't have nothing to do with that. Somebody else did. It was man-made. All organization became from this. The reason we're not to listen to that, he said, because the white brother, he will use this as a sacred symbol, and he will bow down to it onto the ground before it, and he will make a spiritual moments. After he finished spiritual moment, our white brother, he finished doing spiritual, he grabs it right here, and then he stabs to the people, and blood stains the earth. That is why it will come to these ends. Jesus Christ had nothing to do with that, because Jesus Christ was a good man. Even if I'm not a Christian, I'm not Christian, I'll never be one in the terms of being a Christian such as we commonly know it today. But I do think that if Jesus Christ was alive today, I think I would be a very good buddies with him, because he preached to help one another. He says to break up the bread. I think that's what he said, and share it with everybody. He didn't say get it all and put it in the First National Bank. He said cut them up. Everybody's going to eat. Don't kill nobody. Love one another's. He didn't mean steal each other's woman either, I don't think. He didn't mean that stuff. He said good stuff. And I guess that's why that's about. That's why my people know not to. That's why to this day, it's one of the greatest miracles on this world. With all the efforts that have been made and exerted on behalf of the Catholics, the Methodists, the Episcopalians, the Mormons, and whatever have, there's 100 more who have tried and attempted to convert the Indian people in North America and South America. It's a miracle that there are still Indian people that are not Christian. Why? Because that was a strong words right there that still hold them together. Now, at this point, I want to show you, and I hope you understand where don't mix that with the Christian, Jesus Christ man, because it's not the real same. Now, at this point now, here's where we differ from the general Christianity we speak of. Indian, I don't think the Indian has no hell, like what we hear about in the missionaries trying to teach us. And we don't know nothing about it, about that. We've got a sky world, or where those people, first ancestor, came from, what we call Galunghyake, or you might call sky world or heaven in the closest terms. That's where we think we're going when we die, where our ancestor first came from. And so, here's what I notice about. In Christianity, they have a man They call him Satan or the devil, which is told, don't associate with the devil. Stay away from Satan. Don't have nothing to do with Satan. They tell the kids that. Run if you see him, or something, I don't know, but they put a big fear in children about that. Here's where us Indians differ. I'm going to try to make a close example to devil in Indian way. But I can never do it, I know. So attempt I can only do. When I told the story of creation, there was 2 twins born, right? Left and right hand twin. Whose power or whose origination could we say made those twins born and possess the power they did? We could only say the mystery of creation. I won't even say God, because I will only say the great mystery force that caused things to live made them. That's something that I know that. Now, when he made that, even though Sawiskala or left-hand side is bad, mischievous, troublemaker, yet that great force of creation made him. So for illustration purpose, for the time being, I'm going to say as Indian, for just this time being, that the left-hand twin is our devil, or the closest we can get to a figure of a Christian devil. But the difference is the left-hand twin was given the power of the night, given the power of the moon, given all the medicines that can hurt you. That's the power his realm is in. He have half the world's power. The left hand does. The right hand has the other half. Together, night and day will come forever. If it don't, that's when you and I stop living. When left and right hand die, we die too. So that is why Indian, we have a lot of ceremonies that's done at night time. That's to honor the left hand twin. We use the psychology Indian do. Instead of telling our children, be afraid of Sawishka or condemn him, or hate him, instead of doing that, instead what Indian does, I think he uses psychology. Instead, he says, Sawishkala or left-hand side, and to all your helpers, we're going to have a big feast so many nights from now. A lot of people is going to cook food. And Sawishkala or left-hand side power, at that time we invite you, we the people, and we're going to feast and honor you. And so that's what the Indian does. He makes a big feast. Beautiful drums, beautiful songs, sometime all night, sometimes several nights, consecutive nights, to honor the devil, because God made him too, made him part of this universe, so that there will be a harmony. Because if we said, children or people, be afraid of left-hand twin and hate him, don't do nothing what he's doing. If we do, he's got half of the world's power. What happens if he gets mad? His power will really going to get after us. But if we keep trying to appease and keep a harmony between the two forces of life, the sunshine and the night, the happiness and the tear, life will go on, like the circle will go on. There's one big difference I notice in the two philosophies and the two beliefs of our lives. Now, at this time now, I think I wanted to, maybe that's all I want to say about now. Maybe if you have questions that you want to know so far of the territory I have covered, then I want you to ask it, and we try to, try to find some kind of a reasonable or logical answer to it. And that way, now, when I was talking further a while ago about suicide rate amongst my people, and about low educational dropout when I talk about life expectancy, that it's really low, all those are contributing factors to today. Because your government, if your government is Canada or United States or it like that, with all its other helpers like Christianity and like whatever other organizations, they're constantly always on the Indian with all their fancy stuff. And they're always coming to the Indian. This is for your benefit. You learn this. This is going to help you. That's where I always shove it down the Indian's mouth. Shove it down. This is your benefit. This is your benefit. Yet our people knows that. We're not supposed to listen. And then big government, shove it down, shove it down. Give several million to James Bay and stuff like that. They think they could buy land. When it's I would call Christianity sin to do that. Because the land belongs to everlasting generations, to the next one coming. And so that's why many times the Indian people right now has a very bad statistics. And not only Indian, but I believe that's why a lot of white people, included of Canada, also is very messed up. Because they try to change the facts of life and say, okay, all great spirit, I'm going to push you aside and I'm going to engineer this road in this life now. And so pretty soon, according to our knowledge, just like that axis on all direction, it will come to the stop. Because my old people said that when they attack the Great Spirit's elements, the Great Spirit is a great mystery of darkness, a great power. Nobody could put a face on it. Nobody could put arms on it. You can't. And that's why if you attack that, it's going to attack you. You don't know how. Because it don't have no face. You will not be forewarned ahead of time. It could be any time, anything. But for all the people of the world who's abusing the nature, the Earth Mother, and all the winds of the grandfather wind, then all these elements will unite together and they will attack the human race. They will attack the human race. At purification time will come and many lives will be taken away and destroyed or washed away, those that are evil things. But only the ones who remembers the teaching of their original, whether it's white original traditional teaching, whether it's black original traditional teaching, but those who remember, they will survive in the greater numbers than any other. That's what we know, and that's what's going to be. And so now you all here are attending a university. We call it, my people, I guess we call it intellectual house of wisdom. From the university and the colleges like this, Loyola and those ones, McGill, my people said, one old chief said, from there comes the future prime ministers, the future members of parliament, the future congressmen of United States, the future president of United States, the future mafia and gangsters also come from there. So that is why they said you must go. Every time you get invited, try to go there and tell this old people's talk, the old-fashioned plain language. If they haven't got too much education and they're still a human being, maybe they can add one and one up. Sun and moon, the power of them. This earth, the power of the rivers, and the things, the power that Mother Earth makes to grow all the food, the potatoes and corn that you and I eat, and that our children depends on to live from day to day. If they can put two and two together like that up, they will realize that this is a real talk. This is the real truth. And they will do something about it because they have a great advantage. They do attend the intellectual house of wisdom, and they must all be intellectuals. And so they said, this is what they said. Before they said, you must do something. You have many ideas what to do if you are not selfish. And the one message that one woman, one grandmother, she said one time, she said, this one woman, she's got a lot of children. She says this, she said, Mr. Prime Minister and Mr. President and Mr. leaders of all the world's nations. She said, I'm a mother with many children. That is why I will talk now. She said, Mr. Minister and Mr. President and all world leaders, she said, when you have polluted all these rivers and you have killed all these fish and you have cut all these trees down, Mr. President, Mr. Minister, and Mr. Intellectuals in the university, only then will you realize that you can't eat all the money you got in the bank. And so for the future, if you're a mother or a woman that someday was going to have a child, if your love and affection for a baby is the same as a Mohawk woman, they ask you to think about it. And they ask you to think about it intellectually. So that's all I want to say at this time. At this time, if you got any questions, I would like to answer them. And so I don't want to offend anybody here. You know, that's not why I came here. Make trouble or make fight or argue about something. I told you the Indian story, the way the old people told it, different ones all over. Some is Hopi, some is all kind of Indian. Old grandfathers. I heard these stories there. And so I listened to that story. Maybe sometime I told you it sounds far-fetched. Well, then again I remind you, so is Adam and Eve. So there you are. Something to think about it. But anyways, nevertheless, I'm still a great admirer of the Jesus Christ, as well as I am of the Buddha and all the other messiahs that were given to the races of the world. I like all of them. And so I only expect the same to happen to the Indian people. The same respect should come to them. And one thing too that you got to remember, according to the old teaching, is that in this country of North America, the Great Spirit have put the Indian here as the custodian, not the landowner, but the custodian, to make sure that there will always be a harmony for the next generation. And so when European men come here, your ancestor, and you're going to be ancestor to some kid someday, you're here visiting us. The Great Spirit give us that power. Before you start do anything, your government should talk to our leaders first and see if it's all right. That's all. It can all live together. Many races could live together if you're going to use the common denominator. Now, I'm not here to convert you to Mohawk ceremony. I don't want any of you to come to my lawn house and say, I want to join Mohawk religion. I didn't come here for that. Get back to the original teaching of your own people. If you do, you'll find it's a circle that connects. And there we will unite. Just like the rose, the petunia, and the daisy. They are different colors, they are different sizes, and there are different lengths and short and tall. But they're flowers. And it makes your eyes have a beautiful sight. And that is the way we will unite. But not, I don't want to marry French, I don't want to marry English, I don't want to marry jump all over the place. I want to have beautiful bouquet, not melting pot. Because there, too much scum comes to the surface and that's all you see. You want to see something nice. We can only unite. We get back to your original teaching. Mother Earth, she doesn't discriminate nobody. She don't grow corn more for black than to white. The sun doesn't shine and say, I'm going to shine more for you French than for you Mohawks. The moon doesn't say, well, I'm going to make the women have their monthly sicknesses more than the Mohawk women, so that birth of a child could come. Moon, sun, Mother Earth, they don't discriminate. That is why I say, get back to the old-time teaching. Don't say it's old-fashioned. If you do, you better watch out. What are you going to do if the sun goes out? That's old-fashioned. But it never gets old. It's everlasting sun. And that's why the Indian, he will keep doing his ceremonies on sun dance, keep doing ceremony on Mother Earth, keep doing ceremony for rivers and water, because those are all the facts of life that makes my people live. Just very simple, like ABC. Nothing to it. But today, there's a big force, I think a big force, that's trying to tip it on left-hand side. It's like a teeter-totter. Right hand on this side, left hand on this side. We got to have the two on each side of the teeter-totter to make it go. But something happened. Left-hand side took over more. It's got to bring it back to equilibrium. Then people will have peace. So that's all I'm going to say. Any questions? Well, I guess if there's no questions, maybe we'll just break. I heard somebody say they're going to invite us over someplace to have some cheese. Yeah. I don't know what, but anyways, if you have questions, you're bashful now, talk in a crowd, well, we're going to stick around here a little while and we could talk and, on a one-to-one basis like you see. But I do want to say this much, that if I hope I have not offended nobody here. I hope I didn't hurt nobody's feelings either, because that's not what I want to do. But I want to say something, that is my sacred belief. That's what's in my heart. As foolish as it may seem, as illogical as it may seem to anybody, it's very logical to me, and it fits good in my heart, in my mind. And I always want my people to follow that. I want my children to grow up into that. I've been lucky so far. It's still that way. So if you ever hear somebody do that, try and take this away from my people, just step in there and tell them it's right and wrong. Put your voice in there. It's because everybody has got to try to work something to make this equilibrium come back to be on this earth. So for this time, for this, I don't know if it's half hour, how much I've been talking here, you've been listening to me. I'm very glad, and I wish to acknowledge the respect that you have shown for my people. And I say my people when I'm standing here, because this is Indian stories. This is Indian talk. So it's not a respect to me that everybody was quiet and listen, just looks like the ears standing up like that. And so for your kindness and the invitation to come here, I want to thank you very much for that. I'm very grateful to you. And apology goes to anybody if I hurt your feelings tonight. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Cooperation.
Yeah.
With nature, with each other.
Yes.
And for me, I'm very cynical. Ours is competition, competition, competition.
This is a grandmother of your people. It's good. Yeah. That's right on. It's
well, it didn't come from me. I mean, it's just the faith I have in human nature, but that we have taken a little to what the mystics call, and what you have mentioned, never struck me, is the left hand.
Yeah.
Of not centering with the balancing, and you can only do that by cooperation.
Yes.
Your family, your friends, your country, and etc.
Yes, that's a very true.
I mean to give a little sermon, but I've been very moved by what you said.
I think you should try to get on the television and tell to the whole Canada. That was my opinion.
Well, I hope you get on.
Oh. It's a good kind of Senegal hai dachte tika hetum so hawi. So when I yon tagan Senegal hai dachte. Tika hetum so hawi so go Senegal hai dachte. This time I would like to have this time to turn over to Chief Joe Phillips from Concordia across the river here. And our council have put out a paper from the traditional leaders and so forth, and they have made this paper, and he would like to explain it to you all here tonight. So whenever it gets ready.
Well, when you open this letter that we try to distribute among you people, you will note that of our strife, and we need help in your cooperation because you're much more numerous than we are. And not only that, is because of the agreements that we made between our ancestors and yours. Like you probably have heard about the Silver Covenant Chain as well as the Truro Wampum Treaty, which was made with your home government of England as well as the United States. Now in these letters you will see it explains and asking you people to help us in our grievances and our identity, equality, our rights, freedom, just as well as yours. Because of the things that you will find in these letters, we somewhat acknowledged the standing of your flag in this country. We agreed with your ancestors that we're going to protect each other in harmony, and right up to if it, like the way the country's been developed by you people. I read about Mr. Richardson's statement. He said, what did Indians do? When we got here, they were dragging things on 2 sticks. Well, if you study right down the very beginning when you people got here, your ancestor got here rather, they found rubber ball. The children were playing a ball with the ball. You people didn't have that rubber. You'll find many things when you study about us, that a lot of things came from us. We didn't invent industries for a reason of pollution. Our ancestors didn't allow to develop. We like